Hello everyone. Today through this webinar we are launching a new series dedicated to performance indicators, KPIs. These indicators are essential tools for steering the activities of a public development bank. They make it possible to monitor the implementation of strategy, measure the execution of projects and portfolios, and report to various stakeholders, financial partners, supervisory ministries, boards of directors, the management. This topic is not new to the AgriPDB platform. We have already addressed it in previous webinars, particularly when presenting tools for monitoring agroecology investments, also when discussing internal procedures and indicator requirements in the context of issuing climate bonds last year, and highlighting the challenges related to project reporting in the field of nutrition. With this new series, we aim to deepen these reflections and propose a more structured and operational approach to KPIs in support of the performance and impact of public development banks in financing sustainable agriculture. This webinar is made possible through collaboration with KfW. It also forms part of the Integrated Food Systems Program, FSIP, which promotes good practices among agricultural public development bank. This FSIP program addresses the issue of unsustainability by transforming value chain, business models, financing systems, and institutional frameworks. It is funded by the Global Environment Facility, GEF, and the AgriPDB platform is a partner of GEF in this initiative. Before giving the floor to Nabil and Najib and later to Juni from Kenya, Anaïs, would you like to give us some advice?
Yes, thank you very much, Thierry. I just wanted to let you know that this webinar is recorded and will be afterwards available on our YouTube channel and also on our website, which I will add on the chat just after. And at the end of this webinar, we will have a session dedicated to questions and answers, but feel free to add your questions typing on the chat that you will find at the bottom of your screen. And of course, we will try to answer all the questions, but we will give priority to the ones asked by public development banks representatives. And if you agree, Thierry, I think that we have just one poll to introduce this webinar, if that's okay with you. Okay, so
Yes.
I will launch the first question. This is just a way for us to assess what do you know about KPIs. And so you should see on your screen one question, which is, in your opinion, what are impact indicators primarily used for? And you have to choose the dominant use, not the ideal one. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just for us to understand a bit more how much you know about this subject. And I can see that people are already answering, so I will wait a few more seconds. We've reached almost 50% of participation. Okay. You are all very quick. Okay, I think that I will end the poll now. Okay, let's go. You should see the results appearing on your screen. So most of you answered that the impact indicators are primarily used for reporting. 40% of you said for financing decisions, and 5% said for donors' requirements. So as I said, no right or wrong answer, but now we will dig more into the subject. Over to you.
Please, Nabil, would you like to start the presentation?
Najib will start. Najib. Go ahead, Najib.
You are on mute.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Go ahead,
we can
Najib.
hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. This webinar is part of the process over the past months. We conducted, me and my colleague Nabil, backed by the Agri-PDB platform team. We conducted a study on how impact indicator systems are integrated into agricultural finance by public development banks, combined with interviews with several PDBs and international experts. From this work, we identified three main priorities that we want to stress on. The first one is governance and strategic integration of impact indicators, which is our today's topic. The second one is responding to current trends, mainly in social and environmental impact finance. And the third one is data architecture and data management. I see that through the poll right now, we find two main aspects and two main assets. Reporting, 55% of the participants said that the impact KPIs are used for reporting, but there are 40% that says for financing. Actually, it is a bit encouraging if we are talking about financing decision. And it makes sense that we have this webinar to enlighten more on this subject. So let me clarify now what we want to achieve in this webinar. We have four main goals. The first is moving from reporting to management. The second is to clarifying roles and routines within Agri-PDBs in relation with the impact KPIs. The third is distinguishing impact, ESG and reporting. And finally, building a 12 to 18-month roadmap. To understand why this shift is necessary, we will first look at the current context and pressures, then at what our study revealed about current practices within Agri-PDBs, and finally at a governance framework that can make impact indicators truly actionable. So why now? Why is this topic so urgent now for Agri-PDBs? Our study and your feedback point to four main drivers. Shareholders, regulators, and donors increasingly ask what concrete results we are achieving. In the same time, access to green finance is putting pressure to have more and more tied to sustainability-linked obligation and clear impact metrics. On top of that, regulatory pressure with new standards that require documented proof of impact beyond simple declarations, and a huge demand for accountability, where we ask how funds are used and what outcomes are generated for beneficiaries. So this is the external pressure. Let's now move to see what is happening internally in Agri-PDBs based in the study findings. So we have 5 key takeaways. The impact is recognized, but you see it in routines, and decision-making processes are still not at the same level. We have also fragmented reporting-oriented KPIs, and we have low usage in decision-making, a confusion between ESG impact and reporting, and finally, insufficient credit integration. Given this picture, we need a management framework that clearly connects the public mandate to indicators and to allocation decision. That's what we look at next slide, where on the left we have the mandate. It's about answering the question why. It's about the public mission of the bank. It's about the public priorities, for example, inclusion, youth employment, food security, adaptation to climate change. And on the right side, we have allocation. It's about answering the question where and how capital is directed, which portfolios are concerned, what kind of products, regions, what minimum impact thresholds. So in between, in the middle, comes the KPIs. It's about answering the question how. It's a core set of impact indicators that make these priorities observable and discussable at management level. But for this framework to function in real life, we need a system to govern it. That's why governance is a core driver that makes impact actionable through three key elements. The first key element is an owner. Governance needs an owner, someone who arbitrates between impact and financial goals. And we need to establish routines when to discuss and evaluate impact performance. And this is possible through KPIs that allow us to monitor the impact and to transform it in actionable way. And to make this approach more concrete, we can break the governance down into 4 dimensions based on 4 main questions. What change do we want? Where to direct capital? How to measure effectively? And on top of that, who arbitrates and when? What change do we want? It's about the mandate. It's about clarifying the purpose and defining the priorities. And where to direct capital is about translating priorities into rules and to define ex-ante rules. And how to measure it? It's through the KPIs and to choose a core set of KPIs with stabilized definitions. And finally, to keep this system functioning, we should set roles and routines to implement clear decision-making rules, to establish quality controls, and to define specific arbitration moments. But we still have a small confusion between impact, ESG, and reporting. ESG is mainly about risk management and compliance with environmental, social, and governance. Its primary usage for control and exclusion, and it's about impacts that affect the bank internally. But impact is about measurable changes. It's about positive results. It's about the change that we observe on the beneficiaries. And the reporting is about accountability. But an indicator can serve all the three aspects, the definition must remain stable to avoid confusion. The next question now is, how does this translate into concrete rules? How we can translate that into concrete rules, routines, and financing processes inside the bank? This is exactly what my colleague Nabil will cover. And thank you. And I'll leave the floor to my colleague Nabil.
Thank you, Najib. Thank you. Please give me the floor so to share my screen because we cannot share together. Thank you, Najib, for this presentation regarding this the fundamentals of impact KPIs. I'm sharing my screen. I hope that it is clear for you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So we begin with the slide of rules and routine model. So the question is it the responsibility of one department, this impact strategy, impact KPIs, or is it the responsibility of the whole of the company? So now we will move from concept to institutional architecture. So impact governance only works if responsibilities are clearly distributed. So as you see on the chart, the board of directors validates strategic priorities and review impact performance annually. Executive management owns the strategy and arbitrates trade-off between risk return and impact. Trade-offs are inevitable, and if the executive manager does not arbitrate them explicitly, impact remain secondary. So as you see, we begin from the top of the chart, the board of directors. After that, there is the executive manager. And between the executive manager and the operational unit, there is an impact governance. So the impact governance committee is the link between the strategic governance and the executive and in the implementation on the ground. This governance meets quarterly at the same frequency that the board of directors. It analyzes KPIs, adjusts shareholders, and recalibrates targets and may recommend product redesign. Below, the operational unit embed impact into daily processes. So credit, for example, applies ex-ante criteria, risk integrates impact-related risks, ESG consolidates performance, and IT ensures traceability and automation. So as you see through this slide, impact governance is not a department. It is a system. So all the company are contributing to the impact framework. So the second slide, we will move to the integration into the financing cycle. So this slide shows how to move from measuring impact ex post to integrating impact throughout the whole financing cycle at the same rhythm as credit. So as mentioned by Najib, our KPI studies shows that impact analysis is often conducted a posteriori. As a result, it has limited influence on approval and decision. So the recommendation is simple. Define what to capture, when to capture it, and by who at each stage of the financing cycle. This phrase is a technical assistance facility to the PDBs by the platform. That is the core governance shift. So as you see on this slide, we have four step or four stage. The first stage is the origination, and during this stage, we must focus more on the screening plus ex-ante fields. We must target the segment. By targeting segment, we will choose who benefits from the loan. We must also have a relation between the target or the beneficiary and the impact intention of the PDBs. Why this financing? So we have eligibility criteria that are based on the mandate alignment. In this phase, we will have as an output the pre-qualification. Number two, or the phase number two, is regarding the instruction and the credibility. So at instruction stage, impact becomes analyzable. So through detailed impact analysis, through business case, how the product creates impact. You see here, we will understand the relation between the loan, the product, the financial product, and the impact behind this loan. The baseline data and proxies. So the baseline is the situation now before giving the loan, because we have indicator before the loan and we will assess the indicator after providing the loan. ESG and exclusion risk, mandate consistency. So the impact must be argued with the same discipline as risk and profitability. So we add in this stage on the topic of the risk and on the topic of the profitability, the topic of the impact. And the output here is a note of justification of our decision. We move for the third step regarding the approval and arbitration. At approval stage, impact becomes a decision criterion. So we need to explicit trade-off between impact, risk, and profitability. We must focus on the condition and the governance linked to practice or data. So we will request to the, for example, for the SMEs to have irrigation or to have solar product or to check the information monthly or quarterly. And also we will work on the traceability of ex-ante assumption. If impact is not discussed in committee, it is not governance. So we are discussing in the committee the problem of the impact and how to track the impact. And we mentioned also in the contract of the loan, what is the frequency of tracking the impact. So the output of this step is a decision documented traceability. Finally, monitoring, steering, and this is the board of director and the executive manager. So impact does not stop at approval. It will be managed through the portfolio level. And at this stage, we will need the consolidate of the information through the KPIs. So executive board, dashboard, periodic review, and through the periodic review, there will be a corrective action targeting product and limits. So at this level, impact becomes a steering tool, not a reporting exercise as mentioned in the beginning by Najib. And the output here is the executive dashboard. So we can take, for example, an example to have more details. So if we move to the example climate resilient agriculture line of finance, in a climate resilient agriculture credit line, the objective is to finance water efficient irrigation. The target is farm in water stressed region. Eligibility requires technology from an approved green list and projected saving above 20%, for example, as KPIs. The primary KPI is annual water consumption in cubic meter per hectare. And this indicator is sample, measurable, and directly linked to the strategy. So as you see, this is an example that we can monitor primarily these KPIs through annual reporting post-harvest. And we can also verify this product. So another example regarding the local agri-food SME program. If the priority shifts to rural employment, the KPI changes. So the target will be, in this case, the rural agri-food SMEs, and the impact is job created or maintained, and the primary KPI becomes full-time equivalent employment, and the governance logic remain constant, only the strategic objectives change. So this is two example regarding social and environmental indicator that we can measure and we can govern through the public development banks. How we will do this framework, we will need a dictionary of indicator. And the dictionary of indicator must stabilize definition, stabilize source and method, and ensure reliability and comparability across the portfolio. So as you see, for each KPI, we need 5 elements. Number 1, a clear definition to precise scope, calculation, formula, unit of management, of measurement, the target population. All this information must be considered in the dictionary KPI. Number 2, the data source. So we will collect the data through information system or client self-declaration or through a survey or through a third-party data. And you see here, there will be a big and a huge cost of collection of the data. Number 3, the collection frequency. Some indicator will be collected monthly, other will be collected annually, etc. So we will mention this. And number 4, the methodology of calculation and estimation. So we can use, for example, proxies to decrease the cost of calculations, sampling techniques, and quality assurance rule. There is also, we must mention the limits and the assumption, what the KPIs does not say, and the margin of the error, validity, and condition. So for each KPIs, we must have a rule of governance. Number 1, the KPIs owner. So designed impact ESG unit plus relevant business line representative responsible for the indicator. So it's not unique, the impact director, but it will be supported by on the ground person. Quality control to do the insurance of the quality of the data, and the versioning, because we can move from 2024 to 2026, and we can change the method of calculation. To finish with the international framework. So at this stage, a natural question arises. Should we build everything from scratch? The answer is no, but we must use international framework intelligently. So as you see in this slide and the slide after, there is a lot of framework, international framework. IRIS Plus, the fit for purpose, select framework adapted to your mandate rather than staking them blindly. So I will share some example. First, IRIS Plus, which stands for Impact Reporting and Investment Standard Plus, managed by the Global Impact Investing Network. IRIS Plus is a standardized catalog for over 500 impact indicator. It is not a scoring tool and not a risk framework. It is a measurement taxonomy, a common language. IFC also performance standard developed by the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank Group. They define environmental social safeguard, performance standard, and they ensure do no harm. They protect reputation and financial stability through risk screening and monitoring. And there is a third, the referential international framework of IFC, named IAMM, Anticipated Impact Measurement and Monitoring, also developed by IFC, that evaluates expected development impact before approval. It strengthens ex-ante arbitration. So you know also the SDGs, so this is the umbrella of the impact, and all the framework try to achieve this Sustainable Development Goals. There is also OECD DAC, Development Assistance Committee, which follow, for example, the result-based management framework. And this is very important to highlight for the participant, because it will follow the logic chain: input, output, outcome, impact. And we can take an example in a climate resilient agriculture program. The input is the loan we provide to the farmer. The output is the installation of drip irrigation equipment. The outcome is the reduction in water consumption per hectare and improved productivity. And the impact is increased climate resilience and long-term sustainability of agriculture income. So you see through this example that there is a strong relationship between financing and sustainability. And to finish our presentation, and apologize if I take 1 or 2 minutes, Anais. So to realize this framework, we need a roadmap for implementing impact practice in PDP that follow progressive approach, beginning with frame, moving to integrate, and finishing by consolidate. So it will take more than 1 year of work. The phase 1 is the pilot and frame. So the deliverable can be the mandate priorities validated by the board, a core set of 5 to 10 KPIs dictionary, and a RACI piloted routines. And the second phase is the phase of the integration in the cycle of financing that I presented before. It will take 6 months also, and the output is the formal decision criterion. And the third and the last step will be the consolidation through operational dashboard and aligned incentive, HR objectives, quarterly review, and the deliverable will be structured, accepted governance. So as you see, we must small, stabilize the system and the indicator. After that, we will move to the industrialization. Thank you for your Anais. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Nabil, for your presentation. I think now we can give the floor to Junteplin Karimi. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Nice, kindly assist with sharing my strength. So today we will be looking at governance at Agricultural Finance Corporation, which we look at founders seat help to shape capital allocation, credit decisions. So we can look at the first slide. So at bond level, the bond will validate priority themes aligning to national goals and development priorities. They also consider improvement of evidence-based decision-making and validation to strengthen accountability and transparency. This improves evidence-based decision-making, and the concern is to strengthen risk management at range. Next slide. So the governance architecture is based on 3 levels: term bond and strategic oversight, functional and operational governance, which is supported by digital governance infrastructure. So at bond and strategic oversight level, it's the bond mandate to set impacts, key KPIs, and it is embedded at the higher level of the strategic plan. This is cascaded to the top management through portfolio targets and specific product remits. And to ensure that there is alignment, it is cascaded down through performance contracts. To support the implementation at the functional and operational level, we have the implementation units at a credit level. We do have a monitoring unit at a business and development strategy level, and we have environmental, social, governance function, which is embedded at a risk management unit. And to ensure that there is streamlined integration, there is the digital governance infrastructure, which supports all this through progressive data capture at loan inception. The digital infrastructure provides integrated digital reporting system and a consolidated monitoring dashboard, which gives a real-time portfolio visibility for reporting to the board, which is on a quarterly basis. Next slide. So in order to measure impact, there are various KPIs which are considered in decision making. At the highest level of strategic design, the KPIs are set and outlined before a product is launched, and these KPIs are approved by the board of directors. Then from there, at the point of inception and loan origination, at client onboarding, the impact category is captured and well defined by the credit team. Then at the next level, which is at appraisal and approval, two items are considered. Impact alignment is validated at the credit committee level prior to approval of any credit, and environmental and social governance classification and screening is confirmed by risk department. To ensure that impact is real, there is monitoring of the KPIs through the digital infrastructure, which gives early warning signals, and underperforming segments are flagged, and the business development and strategy unit is in charge of this to give real-time reviews and recommendations. So at the highest level, there is bond review and adjustment. So in the event that they are underperforming segments, these KPI signals are presented to the board, who will in charge approve capital reallocation or recommend product design in order to close the gaps that have been identified. So we also look at how impact is integrated in the credit process. So it flows from the lowest level, that is from the level of origination to credit appraisal. This is presented, any loan that is reviewed is presented to a credit committee. It moves up to the level of disbursement. Then there is continuous monitoring and there is bond review. It is important to note that for governance oversight, there is quarterly reviews at the bond level to ensure that there is no gap in reviewing any shortfall in the KPIs that are all in any specific impact level. We look at how KPIs drive decisions with an example at Agricultural Finance Corporation. So the KPIs are signals to indicate, to support governance or to support decision making that address any shortfall across the value chain. So the first instance is the KPI signal, which is linked to a structural constraint. So any shortfall in KPI is not seen just as a gap, but a structural constraint which needs to be reviewed. This drives business model innovation so that at the end, we do have results. So, for example, in this segment, we could have a KPI signal under women and youth. So if it falls below the financing target or we are not able to meet the numbers, we are able to look deep into it and find out what exactly is the cause of this shortfall. So, for example, in this case, it could be hand collateral, which is a barrier across the value chains. So this informs business model innovation. In this instance, we look at an anchor model to address the shortfall. This is a wholesale financing to microfinance institutions and circles, and also anchor clients in order to respond to the gap. So the end result that is expected is to have more women are reached and have more green financing or more funds allocation for that segment. So in the next slide, I'll give an illustration of one key value chain and the product cycle, life cycle, which is the product line is the anchor-based wholesale model. So at the strategic level, the priority could be inclusivity. So the bond will have already approved climate resilience focus, targeting to increase green and portfolio share. So under product design, a product is developed as anchor-based wholesale model. So at this level, the eligibility would be climate smart inputs, irrigation, solar system, and the product line would consider collateral flexibility through anchor-based guarantees. So at credit approval, the impact KPIs are defined and they consider climate adaptation and jobs supported under this value chain, outreach to women and youth, and they are validated at credit committee. So this would take us to the next level of monitoring and review where there is digital capture of data at inception and continuous performance monitoring. This gives indicators like performance at risk, tracking per value chain. This informs bond quarterly reports. And if this segment performs, then there is more reallocation. So from real life, real experience from Agricultural Finance Corporation, like in this case, this kind of product design has given us a better result, which has prompted the organization to allocate more funds to this model as it is able to reach out to more women and youth segment, as well as address the green financing model adequately. So out of all this experience, there is what we've learned and the challenges that we have encountered. At governance level, there is limited standardized agricultural taxonomy. So it becomes quite difficult to align the various value chains to specific taxonomies for benchmarking with other DFIs. And so it remains an area of concern that if the DFIs or the agricultural financial institutions would come together and come up with a specific taxonomy for this sector would make it important to compare and even to benchmark so that when AFC reports a certain taxonomy, we are able to align with the sector and compare. Another strategic challenge is the gaps in carbon emissions measurement. At AFC, normally we do benchmark with the, what is available and under the national level and at world level. Mostly we benchmark with the World Bank carbon emissions measurement, but it also becomes quite difficult to quantify. For instance, when we speak of tree planting by our clientele, and when we advance monies to the agroforestry, we would expect a reduction in the emissions, but quantifying this is relative. So it requires the development institutions to come together, be able to benchmark and align the carbon emissions measurement so that we are able to do comparisons and also be able to have a clear dynamic to the same. Another challenge at strategic level is dynamic agricultural value chains. The agricultural sector keeps on evolving, so there are new value chains that keeps on coming. There is also the pressure of partners who provide various KPIs targets. So this distorts the already established KPIs in order to respond to the varying changes in the value chains. Which is also an area that would really align if we would have a specific taxonomy so that it is narrowed down to specific KPIs. It is not without reasons. As much as we benchmark, as much as we look at impact as a key to drive change and decision making, we've learned lessons. Number one, from our reporting and data management, which is captured at the inception, it has strengthened our fundraising and it strengthens the investor confidence. So AFC can pride itself in having attracted various partners because of the records in the specific KPIs, which various partners will be interested in. Number two, it is not a challenge to report these KPIs because it is not something new. It is not something that we derive at the end of the process, but it is something that we capture at their own inception. You cannot predict default, or you cannot predict the future without data. So data capture plays a key role in improving default predictability along the value chain. So even before the PAR, the performance at risk measurement goes to the risk levels, we are able to predict which value chain is likely to give us more profitability so that we are able to align our funding to that value chain. Where we find the value chains are falling below the thresholds, then it informs the governance in good time what it means to make, whether to change the product design or whether to change the approach in order to rectify that in good time. So impact measurement is a key component in value chain level performance at risk tracking and informs allocation in good time. Another aspect is reduction in concentration risk. So with data and impact measurement, you are able to diversify segment so that your risk is not concentrated in just one segment. You are able to tell if the women are better payers, then more products that are responsive to that segment are developed. So this informs the decisions at the strategic level. Lastly, it's on collaboration for harmonization. So impact measurement has informed the governance that we cannot stand in silos. We need to collaborate with other stakeholders. We need to benchmark. We need to have a comparison and get to harmonize our data so that as an industry, we are able to respond in good time. So I would wish to leave it at that. and I appreciate your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenny, for sharing the experience of your bank. It's very useful to have the insights of a PDB. Anaïs, I think that we can open the Q&A session. So if you have any question, do not hesitate to raise your hands. I see that among the attendants, we have also some participants from BNDES in Brazil. BNDES is a PDB that is well known for its reporting system, and BNDES is often quoted as a model for the completion of its reporting system, and also a model for the appropriation to inside the bank itself. Does anyone from BNDES share also the experience and explain to us how they manage to have this appropriation by every project manager? I don't know who from BNDES could speak. Christina, maybe, or I saw other participants. So if not, I don't want to push you on the stage. Anaïs, while we wait for some hands to be raised, you had another poll also?
Yes, we can do another poll. Let me launch it. So again, there's no right or wrong question, but it's just for us to understand if you clearly understood what has been presented to you today. So the first question is, after this webinar, the number one priority is either clarifying impact versus ECG, set up an ECG committee, select KPIs, integrate credit impact into the financing process, or data IT integration, And the second question is, impact KPIs should be discussed according to you, never, once a year, quarterly, or at the same frequency as financial KPIs. So I will give you some time to answer. I think also today there were one or two questions on the
chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So afterwards we can and
And just to mention
Sorry.
that we've got participants from Colombia, Malawi, Bahamas, South Africa, Ghana, Lesotho, Botswana, Brazil, BNDES and Banco do Desarrollo de Minas Gerais, from Morocco, Azerbaijan, Tanzania, TADB, hello Julie, and Belize.
And as Thierry said before, you can also raise your hand. You can either type your question on the chat if you prefer, or you can raise your hand and I can open your mic.
Anaïs, hello?
Yes.
Anaïs, there's a question about ESG and impact. Why do we need both ESG and impact? Isn't one enough? We can answer that question. In fact, a bank can have excellent ESG risk management and still create very little development impact. ESG is about answering how exposed are we. It looks at how environmental, social, and governance issues affect the bank's risk and financial performance. Whether impact looks at how the bank's activities affect people and the planet. So the public development bank need both lenses, if we could say. ESG to protect the institution and its shareholders, and impact to demonstrate that public and concessional capital are actually transforming the economy in line with the public mandate and the public policy.
Thank you very much, Najib. I will open the mic of Christina, who just mentioned that she had a question. Okay.
Or maybe more a comment, but indeed,
Yes.
Christina, maybe we can build also another discussion later. So
I have opened your mic, Christina, if you want to share your comment.
No, that was I just mentioned that. Thank you very much for wishing the further information on a KPI monitoring process and in BNDS, but that would be information that I'll need to bring from our indicator monitoring department. If you wish, I can have more detailed information to provide later.
Thank you, Christina. I think it will be very useful, and it's always good to have Benedès sharing its experience with other PDBs. Are there other questions? Did you answer to the?
Yes, I've received some feedback, so I will end the poll and I will share the results. Most of you, 56% of you, answered that after this webinar, the number one priority would be to integrate credit impact into the financing process. 28% of you mentioned that the priority could be clarifying impact versus ECG, and then 17% mentioned that it would be selecting KPIs. To the second question, most of you answered that impact KPI should be discussed at the same time, at the same frequency, as financial KPIs. Some of you answered once a year, and others, 17%, said quarterly. So I don't know if Nejib or Nabil, you want to reflect on the results?
Yes. So I think that for the second question, at the same frequency as financial KPI, so is it quarterly? And the board of directors follow at the same time operational indicator, financial indicator, as well as impact indicator. So for that, we must move in parallel on the ground. So we must be on the same page with the board of directors regarding the impact strategy. And I mentioned that in the first webinar through an example. For example, I have the experience to manage a line of finance with microfinance company that I managed before. So on the ground, the business officer are providing loan without taking in consideration the impact. For that, we didn't achieve our KPIs requested by the donors. And for that, we risked at this moment to stop the relationship. So the same thing. So we must follow monthly or quarterly the indicator in the executive committee and in the board of director. And regarding the priorities, I think that the priorities is to clarify the impact indicator and to integrate smoothly this indicator in the four step of the financing cycle. And surely that we need to do awareness workshop and awareness training for all of the stakeholder in the company to be on the same page. Because I didn't mention all the department involved, but I think that an impact framework will affect and will be prepared by all the department in the company. Data integration also is very important. I think that they didn't mention it, but we will focus more in the second webinar on the data management, and we will focus on the problem of the digitalization of the process and the cost of this framework. So I think that this framework, impact framework, there is technical how to assess and how to fix the KPIs. but we need also digital tools to facilitate these activities for Karimi and company.
Jenny, would you have one comment also in conclusion? Anaïs, did you check the question in the chat if we answered every question?
Yes, there was just one more question from Sumaya Kargil, who said that it's a comment. He thinks that the number one priority is getting board-level decision makers to understand the value in integrating impact as a real decision-making criteria. And he mentioned that too often impact is an afterthought, and so making these changes is an uphill climb. I don't know if June, Najib, or Nabil, you want to react on this comment?
So there is a lot of priority. Najib, you take the floor, Najib, if you want.
I think, sorry, I think June Teplin wanted to take the floor.
Yes, yes.
Yes, on that perspective, it is important to note that KPIs should not be an afterthought. Impact measurement should also, it's not an afterthought. It is a planned pathway that needs to be integrated from the onset of the loan appraisal, so that at each level you are able to measure each KPI. With that, there is no of abandoning with the reports because of the aspect of integration. At each level, you are able to measure specific KPI. If it's about environmental, social, and governance screening, you are able to screen and make a pass on specific items. So when it comes to reporting, then that one should not have any problem because already the specific impact KPIs have been identified. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Nabil, Najib, would you like to give a word of conclusion? It's time to conclude now.
Thank you, Thierry. Thank you very much. Just to confirm what Ms. Sumaya said, it's about leadership. The leaders must be aware of the importance of impact, and they should integrate that in their daily speaking, integrate that in the enterprise culture, and in that way maybe think about incentives to the team in relation with the impact achievements, and in that way we will see more and more focus on the impact KPIs within Agri-PDBs.
So thanks a lot. Nabil, Najib, we will meet you again in 3 weeks or 1 month or something like that for the second series of this webinar on KPIs, second in a series of 3. So many thanks everybody for your participation. We will share all the content, the PowerPoint and the video on our website. And we will send you the next invitation to our webinars. Thanks a lot for your participation. Anaïs, do you have any compliment?
No, I think you said everything. Of course, big thank you also to June Teplin Karimi, who shared her experience at AFC. It was very much interesting. So thank you, everyone. And we are looking forward to continue this webinar series.
Thank you, June. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.